Tragedy often feels like the end of the road, a point at which our dreams shatter and the weight of loss or hardship feels unbearable. For many, it's a deeply painful experience, one that leaves behind a sense of helplessness. But for some, tragedy isn't the final chapter. It's the beginning of an entirely new story, one that's defined not by what's been lost, but by what can be built from the pieces that remain. Pain and adversity can become the very catalyst for success, turning suffering into an unstoppable force that leads to million-dollar ideas. The stories of people who've turned tragedy into triumph are as diverse as they are inspiring. These aren't just tales of financial success, they're stories of resilience, reinvention, and the power of human ingenuity. The transformative path from tragedy to profit is not an easy one, but it's a journey that proves anything is possible with the right mindset. Sara Blakely, turning rejection into a billion-dollar idea. One of the most striking examples of turning personal pain into a profitable idea is that of Sara Blakely, the founder of Spanx. Blakely's idea came from a deeply personal frustration, finding no solution to the uncomfortable, bulky shapewear available at the time. As a young woman, Blakely struggled to find a product that made her feel confident and comfortable in her clothes. Instead of settling for the status quo, she decided to create her own. But the path to success wasn't easy. Blakely had no background in fashion or business. In fact, she had been selling fax machines door to door before she even thought about creating a new line of shapewear. Her lack of experience led to numerous setbacks, including constant rejection from manufacturers and investors. Blakely could have easily been discouraged, but her refusal to accept failure became the fuel for her entrepreneurial journey. Instead of being defeated by rejection, she used each no as motivation to keep going. After many months of persistent effort, she finally convinced a manufacturer to produce her product. Spanx took off, and today, Blakely is a billionaire, one of the wealthiest self-made women in the world. Blakely's story is a perfect example of how turning pain into purpose can lead to success. Her frustration and rejection became the foundation for a brand that has reshaped the fashion industry, proving that adversity can lead to unprecedented achievements. Steve Jobs, from personal loss to global innovation. Another well-known figure who turned personal tragedy into a path to monumental success is Steve Jobs, the co-founder of Apple. Jobs' journey to greatness wasn't a straight line. In fact, one of the most defining moments of his career was the loss of his own company. In 1985, Jobs was ousted from Apple, the company he had built from the ground up. The blow was devastating. Jobs had poured his heart and soul into Apple, and being fired from the company felt like the ultimate personal betrayal. But instead of letting this painful experience define him, Jobs found a new sense of purpose. He poured his energy into creating new ventures, including Next and Pixar. These companies, which seemed to be born from frustration and failure, would eventually lead to his triumphant return to Apple in 1997. Jobs' second stint at Apple marked the beginning of a new era of innovation, with the launch of groundbreaking products like the iPhone, iPad, and MacBook. Through Jobs' story, we see how deeply personal loss, whether it's the death of a loved one or the loss of a career, can serve as the catalyst for reinvention. Jobs didn't let his setbacks define him. Instead, he used them as the fuel for an even greater success story. His journey from being fired to becoming one of the most influential figures in modern technology shows that tragedy can often lead to transformative innovation. J.K. Rowling, from homelessness to billionaire author. Sometimes, the pain that drives success is born out of financial and emotional struggle. J.K. Rowling, author of the Harry Potter series, was once a single mother living in poverty. Before becoming a literary icon, she was battling depression and dealing with the recent death of her mother. Her life seemed to be spiraling into a series of unfortunate events. But it was during this difficult time that Rowling began writing the story that would change the world. The first Harry Potter book was rejected by 12 publishers before it was finally accepted by Bloomsbury, a small publishing house. At the time, Rowling was living on welfare and struggling to make ends meet. Her pain and hardship seemed endless, yet she poured her energy into the creation of a magical world that would soon capture the hearts of millions. Today, Rowling is one of the wealthiest authors in the world, with the Harry Potter franchise valued at billions. Her journey is a testament to the power of perseverance in the face of adversity. Instead of letting the pain of rejection and financial hardship hold her back, she used those experiences to fuel her creativity and determination, ultimately building a literary empire. Howard Schultz, overcoming poverty to build Starbucks. Howard Schultz, the CEO of Starbucks, grew up in a poor neighborhood in Brooklyn, New York. His father, a truck driver, had no job security and no benefits, which meant that when he was injured on the job, the family was left without any support. Schultz watched his father struggle, and this left a lasting impression on him. He promised himself that he would never let anyone in his employ experience the same hardships. Schultz's first encounter with Starbucks came when he was working as the director of retail operations for a small coffee equipment company. At the time, Starbucks was just a small Seattle-based coffee shop. However, Schultz had a vision for the company. He believed Starbucks could become more than just a coffee store. It could be a place where employees were treated well and offered healthcare and benefits, things his own father had never had access to. Schultz's vision wasn't just about creating a great product. It was about building a company with a strong sense of community and values. Starbucks became the massive global brand it is today, in part because of Schultz's unwavering commitment to his values. His success was built on the pain of witnessing his father's struggles, and from that pain, he forged a business model that prioritized both profit and people. Schultz's story is a powerful example of how personal hardship can inspire a business that stands for something more than just money. Blake Mycoskie, from tragedy to social entrepreneurship. Not all tragedies lead to traditional business ventures. Some entrepreneurs, like Blake Mycoskie, founder of Tom's Shoes, are driven by a desire to make a social impact. Mycoskie's inspiration came from a trip to Argentina, where he saw firsthand the devastating poverty that many children were living in. One of the most shocking realities he witnessed was the lack of basic necessities, including shoes. Without shoes, children were more vulnerable to disease and injury. Moved by the plight of these children, Mycoskie decided to create a company with a unique business model. For every pair of shoes sold, Tom's would donate a pair to a child in need. The idea was simple, but it would change the way people viewed business. Mycoskie's pain and compassion led to the creation of a company that blended profit with purpose. Since its founding, Tom's has donated millions of pairs of shoes to children around the world and sparked a movement known as one for one giving. Mycoskie's story is a testament to how tragedy and hardship can lead to meaningful social change. Instead of simply building a profitable company, he used his experiences to create a business that would make a tangible difference in the world. Turning pain into progress. The journey from tragedy to profit is rarely easy, and success doesn't happen overnight. But as the stories of Sara Blakely, Steve Jobs, J.K. Rowling, Howard Schultz, and Blake Mycoskie show, it is possible to turn pain into something powerful. These entrepreneurs faced seemingly insurmountable obstacles, but rather than allowing those hardships to defeat them, they used them as stepping stones toward greater success. In each case, the adversity these individuals faced became the foundation upon which they built their empires. Whether it was the pain of rejection, loss, financial hardship, or the struggle to create something meaningful, these entrepreneurs transformed their pain into progress. They didn't just survive their tragedies, they thrived because of them. For anyone facing hardship or loss, these stories serve as a reminder that tragedy doesn't have to be the end of the road. It can be the beginning of something extraordinary. With the right mindset, determination, and vision, it is possible to turn pain into profit and build a legacy that goes beyond personal success. The path from tragedy to triumph may not be easy, but it's one worth taking. Conclusion of the story is, the stories we've explored, the journeys of Sara Blakely, Steve Jobs, J.K. Rowling, Howard Schultz, and Blake Mycoskie, are not just about business success or wealth. They are powerful reminders of the strength of the human spirit, the potential for reinvention in the face of adversity, and the importance of seeing opportunity in hardship. From these stories, there are key lessons that anyone, especially aspiring entrepreneurs or those going through tough times, can take to heart. Embrace rejection as a stepping stone. Almost every person we've talked about faced rejection. Sara Blakely had her idea turned down by manufacturers, Steve Jobs was ousted from the company he created, and J.K. Rowling's manuscript was rejected by 12 publishers. But instead of seeing rejection as an endpoint, They used it as a lesson and motivation to keep going. Rejection is not failure, it's a step toward success. Turn personal pain into purpose. Pain, whether emotional, physical, or financial, is often a source of immense personal growth. When you're in pain, it can feel like the world is against you. But that same pain can push you to think differently, to create something that addresses that struggle. Howard Schultz built Starbucks with the desire to ensure his employees were treated better than his father was. Blake Mycoskie used the pain of seeing children without shoes to create a model that benefited millions. Personal hardship can become the spark for your greatest ideas. Persistence is key. Keep going when it gets tough. Almost every successful entrepreneur we've discussed faced setbacks, obstacles, and even moments of despair. What set them apart was their refusal to give up. When the road gets tough, persistence is often what separates those who succeed from those who stop. Keep pushing forward no matter how impossible it may seem at times. Each challenge is just another opportunity to learn and grow. Create with a purpose, not just for profit. Many of the most successful entrepreneurs didn't just create businesses for financial gain. They created businesses that had a deeper purpose. Steve Jobs wanted to change the world with innovative technology. J.K. Rowling created a world that gave readers hope. And Blake Mycoskie wanted to improve lives by giving back. When you build something with a higher purpose, something that aligns with your values, it becomes more than just a product or service. It becomes a movement, a legacy. Believe in your vision, even when no one else does. Every one of the entrepreneurs we've looked at had to believe in their ideas even when they faced doubt from others. Whether it was Blakely starting Spanx with no business background, or Jobs returning to Apple when it seemed like his best days were behind him, they each had a clear vision for what they wanted to achieve, and they pursued that vision relentlessly. If you believe in your idea, keep pushing forward. Sometimes it takes others a while to see what you see, but if your idea is solid and your passion unwavering, it can change the world. The summary of the whole story is that what can we learn from these incredible stories? That tragedy is not the end. It can be the beginning of something extraordinary. When life knocks you down, remember that your greatest successes often come from the darkest moments. Turning pain into profit is not about avoiding hardship, but rather about using it as fuel to create, innovate, and move forward. As you pursue your own goals, whether personal or entrepreneurial, know that your struggle could be the catalyst for the next big idea. Your story, like those of Sara Blakely, Steve Jobs, J.K. Rowling, and others, could one day inspire someone else to take that leap of faith and turn their own tragedy into triumph. The path to success might not be easy, but it's certainly possible, and it might just begin with the challenges you face today.